My name is Sebastián Brendel. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Germany.
Power, speed, and technique getting in one. And this is Sebastián Brendel. Canoe paddler and 3 times Olympic champion, was born in Schwedt in 1988 and now lives with his family in Potsdam. In his childhood, the Brandenburg native tried football, karate and running, but soon ended up stuck in canoe. He attended the Potsdam Sports School Science 2000 and completed his technical college diploma. After an extensive testing phase in various sports, he dedicated himself to canoe racing and has been kneeling in his canoe for almost 2 decades. In 2008, he fought his way to the national top, but initially couldn't get past the German legend Andreas Dietmar. 3 years later, Brendel missed victory at the World Championships in Szeged, Hungary, because his paddle broke. Some people will fall apart because of so much bad luck. Brendel transformed it into positive energy, which he now used to win competitions. Brendel came to the games in London without being a clear leader, but at the final race he stood in lane 5 to make it clear to everyone that he would fight for the gold. From the very start, French canoe paddler Goubel rushed into the battle like a Mexican fighter without thinking about consequences. But at the 250-meter mark, the famous Uzbek canoe paddler Menkov also rushed into the lead, together with the Uzbek and French athletes paddling very close to each other. All 3 athletes made powerful rows that they began to move further and further away from the others. At the 500-meter mark, the 3 leaders going unchanged, but after that, French clearly began to lag behind, and Brendel started to pull ahead with powerful rows. Fight with the Uzbek athlete lasted until 750 meters, but after that Sebastian prepared his killer finish despite the fact that all 3 athletes coming faster. Brendel didn't feel any danger and cut the water faster and faster with the bow of the boat. Despite the fact that at the finish line the Spanish David Cal performed the most historical finish, he couldn't catch up the German that day. That's how confidently he won his first Olympic Games.
Ball comes through to take the silver, and Mark Oldershaw for the bronze, and Vadim Menkov, despite all his efforts, was raced out of it and into 4th. Sebastián Brendel takes the gold though.
Brendel arrived at the World Championships in Moscow as a huge favorite, and all the experts claimed that he will be out of competition. He took the lane 4 and was expected to face off against Olympic champion Hungarian Attila Wajda and young stranger Brazilian Dos Santos. From the start, Brendel rushed forward, but he couldn't break away from everyone. The young talented Brazilian and Czech Fuchse were eager to take the lead without fear of their legendary colleagues. The Brazilian was surprised for many, goes forward with his unusual technique without slowing down for a second. Even by the 500-meter mark, 2 young talents didn't give up the lead, making it clear to everyone that they wouldn't give up without a fight. The Brazilian moved further and further away from everyone, but Brendel, having extensive experience, didn't let him go far. At 750-meter mark, the Brazilian began to pick up a crazy stroke, but Brendel understood that the Brazilian could no longer let go of their powerful rows. No one understood who would win this final. A real swing between two canoe paddlers began on the red buoys, leading to max pleasure for the fans and spectators. The Brazilian picked up a cosmic stroke and rushed to the finish at full speed, and Sebastian also turned on to the very maximum of his capabilities. Brendel was getting closer, but many already began to think that Dos Santos won this race, and the most unexpected thing happened that could come to mind. The Brazilian, thinking that he had already reached the finish line, made an early jerk, but he made a mistake and capsized and missed the championship and sensation. Brendel realized that in outback of the Brazilian country there was a young talent who will be his rival for the many years to come.
Germany first, Brazil second, Czech Republic third.
Sebastian, world champion again, how do you feel?
Yeah, it's a great feeling, a big success for me. It was a really tight race between the Brazilian guy and me, and I'm happy that I am come in the finish at first.
The Rio Olympic Games were held in the sunny country of Brazil. Although Brendel was considered a favorite, the local public had its own favorite. Spectators and fans remembered that fight in Moscow. In the final, Brendel and Dos Santos took close lanes, but preference was still given to Sebastian. From the start, both athletes flew forward, but they were resisted by an athlete from Moldova. To the delight of the local Brazilian public, he took the lead and at the 250 mark began to lead the race. Brendel still remembered the race that took place in Moscow and didn't let his opponent go that far. All three athletes started to fight and began to roll out the boat with powerful rows. By the 500-meter mark, all three were going very close, but still the bow of the Brendel's boat was in front. A psychological war immediately began, and they were left alone. No one wanted to let go of their opponent. After 200 meters, they were left alone like boxers in the ring and began to fight with all their might to destroy their opponent. They both pushed the maximum stroke, but Brendel, starting from the red buoys, moved further and further away from the Brazilian. Sebastián Brendel once again proved that he is the best in the world and won his second Olympic Games. These achievements brought him closer to the title of the legend and pleased his fans.
Amazing race there from Sebastián Brendel, and what a contest with the Brazilian Dos Santos.
Legendary canoe paddler Sebastián Brendel, who won the biggest competition in his life and probably one of the best canoe paddlers of all time.